Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of the Trinisphere. I am joined by my co-hosts, Shannon the Timmy
Hey, what's up, guys?
and Ryan the Spike.
Nah, I am Sangria Sandy today.
Fantastic. And I am Adam the Johnny. And we are here today in Episode 3 to discuss Guilds of Ravnica.
It's about time. We're a little
Damn.
late.
We are a
But we
little bit
took some
late.
took some time to really think about these cards.
That's
and
right.
play with
We
them a
we
little
want to
bit.
analyze, like really analyze these cards.
Really get in
A really,
there.
really slow return.
Yes. Yes. So we are going to start off today by talking about the new commanders that we have available, and then we are going to go into our top favorite cards for adds to our decks from Guilds of Ravnica. So let's kick it off with Aurelia. We have Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice.
A big old beater.
Big old beater. It is
Not
two,
that big.
two, a red and a white for a legendary creature Angel, 2/5 with flying and mentor. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose up to one target creature you control until end of turn. That creature gets +2/+0 and trample if it's red and gains vigilance if it's white. So, let's start off with Spike. Thoughts on Aurelia?
I think that in Commander, especially, that the Mentor ability. I'm sorry, I will rephrase that. I think outside of Limited, the Mentor ability is pretty trash. So I'm just gonna have to pass on her entirely. I think they tried to make her a little too cute. She's 4 mana, I think, 5 mana.
4 mana, yep.
4 mana. I mean, that's a low cost for a general. She's a 2/5. She's got a big butt, but like, I don't see her being any more than like a tier 3. Like, someone feels real something about her.
Yeah. All right, Shannon, what do you think?
Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice, me likey.
Yeah?
I definitely built one of the decks around her using like Double Strike as the main focus. Yeah, he's right that Mentor is basically an afterthought. But I was more interested in the fact that she buffs creatures. She just
I can behind that.
throws like a ogre battle driver kind of effect down. But like we mentioned before in other videos, like we didn't notice that intervening comma after the +2/+0.
Yeah.
So it read to us very frequently that she gives red creatures +2/+0 and trample, and then she gives white creatures vigilance. So like the white creatures got shafted. So like our original decks didn't really focus on the fact that there's many white double striking creatures that could take advantage of that too.
Yep.
There are.
But yeah, I think that she goes into a aggressive. She's an okay, pretty aggressive Boros commander, and I kind of like it. I haven't liked very many Boros commanders that are just let's try and swing until somebody's dead. But I do like her because she is cheap, and she is gonna die because Boros dies.
Yeah,
a
I
lot,
mean,
so-
I think the cost helps her out a lot. However, yeah, I'm just very meh on Aurelia. Nothing really.
Do anything.
Well, like nothing super creative to do here. I mean, it feels like, hey, I'm gonna swing with some stuff, which it it does very effectively.
Does she
but
haste?
no.
She does not.
No, see,
Yeah, I don't think she's quite as good as her original iteration, but she's
Yeah.
a different kind of build.
Yeah.
She's a build around effectively. Like you're running like Swiftblade Vindicator and stuff.
I will say, once you said the double strike facet, and I know that Burrows has really been dipping her toe into that double strike facet, especially with the release of Bruce Tarl a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Number one ad, Bruce Tarl.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, that's what I thought of.
Yeah.
Like the whole like three line slinger, like Bruce Tarl slingshot, like or shotgun blast. It's a funny mechanic that Burrows has. I can appreciate that you brought that up.
Yep.
All right, so let's take a look at our next one, and that is Amara. We have Amara, Soul of the Accord. So Amara is a green and a white for a 2/2 elf cleric. And it says when Amara, Soul of the Accord becomes tapped, create a 1/1 white soldier token with lifelink. So, Shannon, we'll start off with you this time. What are your thoughts on the bear that makes the weenies?
Pass. Pass on Amara. That's a 2-mana 2/2. That's not exciting. Making a 1/1 is even less exciting.
But it's when it taps.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So you can put like Paradise Mantle on it to make it a mana dork that poops out 1/1s.
Yes.
That is like probably one of the least exciting mechanics I can think of.
Yeah.
I mean, of all of the Selesnya commanders I can think of off the top of my head, I'd rather play, like Tristani or something like that. Just have more fun doing more explosive plays than trying to tap this guy for mana or this gal.
Yeah. Ryan, what are your thoughts here?
So, not gonna lie, the week that I missed playing with you guys when we played these commanders, I actually I was in the process of building her as the person I wanted to bring because I thought she was so awful that I wanted to just come in and be like,
you wanted to break her open?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what's funny is like I had cards in there like Springleaf Drum, Paradise Mantle. Like I literally was just like, how can I abuse this chick? And then like basically the best way to do it to make like infinite 1/1s, I just started really, really getting more towards the Johnny. And I'm not gonna lie, as I started like building it more towards the best optimum build, it lent very, very hard into the Johnny spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, like, it looks like you can definitely build an interesting deck here, but it's super linear. Like, if you see this deck once, it's going to always be that exact deck. And it's going to have all the cards you guys mentioned, plus, like, Glare of Subdual and a whole bunch of, like, just tinkering with tapping. You're going to play your Court of Calling and stuff like that. But, like, it's very linear. It is probably interesting. I mean, like, I'd probably have fun with it for a few weeks, but it's not something I'd keep together for a while because there's not a lot of different layers to it. It's just, it is what it is.
Right. Yeah, I think Josh Leakwai played this, and he kind of went ham with it. I think
Sure.
he resolved like a Seedborn Muse.
Oh.
He had a Mentor of the Meek out, and then he had something to make her tap for mana, and then he had a Seedborn Muse. So he was drawing 4 cards and creating 4 1/1s every time he passed turn.
Nice.
Wow.
All right, so moving on to our next one, we have a gal that people are excited about, but I can't say that I completely understand it after having played it. We have Atrada the Silencer. So Atrada is 2, a blue and a black for a 3/5 vampire assassin. Look, you've almost got me sold right there. This is a vampire assassin, buddy.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet.
All right. Atrada the Silencer can't be blocked. When Atrada deals combat damage to a player, exile target creature that player controls and put a hit counter on that card. Look, so far, this card is banging. That player loses the game if they own 3 or more exiled cards with hit counters on them. Again, still banging. Atrada's owner.
Still, you're beating hard.
Yeah, Atrada's owner shuffles Atrada into their library.
Ooh.
Card became hot garbage. Yeah.
Wait. It says that?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that card's awful.
Yes, correct.
Now, how about Adam? You start off. I mean, this seems like a card that you would love. It has a crazy effect that's hard to work with, and a downside that you have to like work very hard to get through.
So it was. he doesn't believe it. It's on there.
He's still shocked at the last sentence.
I was about to be like, whoa, this card's not the worst.
No, it is.
Yeah. Apparently Ryan never read past the last sentence.
Yeah.
I saw 4 mana 3/5 vampire assassin that can't be blocked, dude.
Yeah. So this card is very powerful on the surface, and if you can potentially get around,
it is real weak inside your deck.
Yeah, like, I mean, after having built around it, like, there's a lot of ways to avoid the shuffle. You can bounce it, and you can flicker it, and you can do all kinds of shenanigans, and then you can make copies of it with, if you have Mirror Gallery out, and people have explored this, and I did a deck tech on it, and you guys can check that out. The problem comes down to if you have her out and you're planning on doing all these things and interacting with your opponents, you need 8 billion mana on every turn.
And you're in Dimir, dude, like the
right.
worst color of mana.
Yeah.
You're so restricted all the time.
So it's just it was really hard to work with. There are some interesting interactions and things that you can do, but it kind of ends there. Shannon, what do you think about this guy or this gal?
Did you show up and not know that?
No, I knew that. I
His
built the
entire
deck around it.
was built around like bouncing her back to your hand with the trigger in the stack and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But that was the problem, is that he ran out of mana. He never had open mana because using unsummons on her means you have to recast her, so it's 4 plus 2 mana
Right.
in order to allow her to hit someone and get her back into play immediately.
Yeah.
And so he was constantly tapped out. So that ended up being the downfall, is that he couldn't interact with other people.
And you can't even play Greaves because then you can't bounce her, so you can't give her haste with that. You have to use Swiftfoot boots. And, it's just a pain. So Shannon, what are your thoughts?
At first, I was also really hype on Atrada. I thought she'd be really fun to play, but after seeing a bunch of people try her out, I said, you know what, she's really cool, but she's not nearly as powerful as everyone had expected.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, she has to hit one person 3 different times.
Yeah.
In order to kill them. So this would be like if she just had infect or something. Her
ability.
Yeah,
exactly.
It would be equivalent to that, or if she was doing 7 commander damage. It'd be something along those lines. But she does a much more unique way to kill people. But unfortunately, there's no way to really work with the hit counters in a unique way. So they're just the same as having infect or having 7 power.
Right.
Or doing 7 commander damage. So I think we all kind of got over Atrada a little bit. There was a big rush to play her, and then everyone was like, all right, well, let's try moving back on to like more powerful cards. I would say the best part about Atrada was meeting her at GP Denver.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Olivia Gobert Hicks was dressed as Atrada, and she does some pretty awesome cosplay. So that was really cool. Getting to see Atrada up close and dangerous.
Yeah. Ryan, any final closing thoughts now that you have read the last sentence of Atrada?
Honestly, you guys covered everything. Like, you're right, guys. Reading is essential.
It is.
Everyone gets so excited. You can see it's actually really funny to watch people read this card, because when they first read it, they're like the excitement builds.
You can see
can't be blocked. What? Well, first of all, they're like 4 mana 3/5. Okay, can't be blocked. Wait, what? Exiles creatures? What? They lose the game? Oh, she gets shuffled into my deck.
The only like, I guess the closing thought I have on this card is that now I want to see someone play this. And I would specifically want to go out of my way to chaos warp it and just look at him and be like, you're used to
it. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to run that Cozy's Trickster, I think it was. 1 mana, 1/1. Whenever somebody shuffles, it grows by 1. Got him.
All
right. So next up, we have Izoni Thousand-Eyed. For 2 black, green, you get an Elf Shaman that's a 2/3. With Undergrowth, and it says when Izoni Thousand-Eyed enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token for each creature card in your graveyard. Then it has an activated ability for a black and a green, and sacrifice a creature. You gain 1 life and draw a card. Shannon, I'm gonna start with you on this one.
I kind of like this one. I'm a big fan of cards that, I always harp on cards that have abilities that require certain things to happen, but they don't themselves enable it. But this one does. It's about sacking creatures to draw cards, and it gives you creatures when she comes into play. So I like that her 2 abilities are synergistic together and don't require a second card outside of her. I would say her power level is a little low, but I feel like it's a pretty strong build around being able to have a sack outlet that also draws cards.
Yeah.
So overall, I think in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to Golgari commanders, she's not going to be the most powerful, but she's still a pretty interesting entry.
Yep. Ryan?
It looks like Wizards really, really listens to their community.
Did the community ask for mediocre cards? What happened?
Yeah, no, they asked for a really, really shitty Marin. They're like, yo, let's just tack on 2 mana. Let's make it colored so it's difficult, right? I'll make it easy. We'll actually make her. Is it Marin?
-1/-1. I think Marin's like a 3/4 or 4/3.
3/4. Okay, yeah. So her stats went down, and her mana went up. That's a problem. All right, now let's talk about what she does. She enters battlefield, and what if you don't have a graveyard?
You get a 2/3.
Ooh.
That can sack your lands to draw cards.
It's just creatures, dude.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I meant you animate your lands and then sack them. That's what I said.
Oh, geez, Rick.
In a vacuum, this card is absolutely hot. Just it is the worst. I personally don't think it's that great of a card. But here's the thing. I also looked into building this list as well because when building these decks, I didn't like any of the options. But this guy, it's got a very. I think it's just like Amara. It's very linear. It's a very, very, very specific deck. It's going to play out exactly the same way every single game. I guarantee you. It's going to be dump my graveyard as fast as possible, dredge. Oh, we're in green-black. Another dredge trick. Awesome. Just dredge. Play this. Stick a bunch of dudes. Either you're going to pump these dudes, you're going to triumph for the hordes. What are you going to do? You're going to swing and kill someone the next turn regardless, right?
Yep. Honestly, I don't even think the deck is going to be based that heavily around her. She's just going to end up being there when you run out of gas and need to refill your hand.
Yeah.
You're just like...
So then she's literally just a worse Marin.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Marin is a much... I mean, Marin's probably one of the most powerful Golgari commanders, and you build around Marin, you probably don't build around a Zoni. She probably is just there as a figurehead.
Honest to God, I will be honest with you. Marin is a very, very bad example because Marin, I think, is like way, way up there when it comes to competitiveness.
Yep.
Yeah, Marin is obviously much better, but yeah, I mean, I guess the best comparison you have for this thing, which is still a horrible comparison, would be like Avenger of Zendikar. It enters the battlefield, makes a whole bunch of dudes potentially.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's fair.
But I don't think that you end up getting the long-term value out of that, and I don't. If anything, this would go in the 99 for me. I don't see it ever heading a deck. It's just not that interesting.
What if instead of it costing Golgari and sack a creature, it cost hybrid Golgari, sack a creature?
That wouldn't.
I'm wondering.
It wouldn't excite me that much. I mean,
I mean that almost reaches combo potential at that point because then you can sack a creature that generates a creature, and then you have ways to generate mana when that creature's in the battlefield or when it dies, and then you basically have an infinite combo at that point. She was close. She was close, but she was not pushed. Whatever the opposite of pushed.
No.
She was held back.
She was held back. Yeah.
Undergrowth was like the medium thing. I think they were pushing. I think the real thing they pushed was Surveil, right?
Yeah, yes. Surveil was pretty insane.
Yeah. All right. So next up we have a returning character. In Lazav, but now we have Lazav the multifarious. Is that a word? Is that an actual word? Anybody?
Yes.
Good.
I had to Google it, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. What does it mean? Spell it.
I was like, I know what nefarious is, but I don't know what multifarious is.
Right.
He has so many Fariuses.
All the Fariuses.
Oh yeah, he's the most Fariousness. So anyway, he is a blue and a black for a 1/3 shapeshifter. When Lazav the Multifarious enters the battlefield, surveil 1. And then he has the activated ability pay X, and Lazav the Multifarious becomes a copy of target creature in your graveyard with converted mana cost X, except for its name is Lazav the Multifarious. It's legendary in addition to its other types, and it has this ability. So basically, you can keep making Lazav a copy of anything in your graveyard. So I think I'm probably going to start off with this one. We got to see Lazav in action in our gameplay video. We got to see it in a little too much action in that I believe that Lazav, while it will be the most linear deck ever, probably will become a very, very, very competitive deck very quickly. This guy is straight up broken.
I'm gonna be honest with you. What exactly is the focus here?
You just infect kill everybody.
Yeah, you basically just turn 1 entomb a Phyrexian Dreadnought, turn 2 play Lazav, turn 3 swing as a 12/12. And then additionally, you can also put Vector Asp in your graveyard, which is another 1-drop that gives you infect. So you can stack the triggers so you can swing as a 12/12 infector on like turn. You can do this on like turn
with
4.
trample.
If you didn't ramp, you're doing this on turn 4.
Yeah.
But if you did ramp, you could do it on turn 3 possibly.
Yep.
Oh, so
if you just buried a lot, if you can like Soul Ring, turn 1 Soul Ring, or even better, turn 1 Mana Crypt Buried Alive and put Vector Asp and Phyrexian Dreadnought into your bin. Turn 2, play Lazav, and then turn 3 you can swing as a 12/12 infect.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
fair enough.
So
it's kind of like a weird, like cute, like Scion trigger trick then. Like Scion the Ur Dragon when you
Oh
steal
yeah,
something,
yeah.
where you
Exactly,
stack
yeah.
your trigger specifically to copy 2 dragons in one turn.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, again, it's super linear because that is the win con that you're generally going for. But also just making it a 12/12 or making it something BC that you put in your graveyard is going to allow you to get commander damage in fairly easily because you can give them flying or some kind of like unblockability. And then once you're past blocks, switch him to something else with just a massive power and then kill them with commander damage. So
that's a very good point. And it can be activated infinite number of turns, and you do things like eat a Death Shadow, or not even eat, you don't get rid of the card.
Nope, you don't get rid of the card. It stays there.
That's the insane part is that
it doesn't cost you a card when you do this. Holy crap.
Yeah.
This card, it plays so damn well with Death Shadow and Friction Dreadnought and probably many other cards that can kind of cheat the power to mana ratio in some awful way. So yeah, I think without a doubt, this is probably the most competitive of all of the commanders that came out of this set. I mean, we saw it in action. I was shocked. I kept being like, of course they're exiled. They would have to be exiled to do this thing. No reason. You just stay as this creature every turn, or there has to be some downside here, you know?
Yeah.
The biggest downside with this card is the fact that you have to pay the creature's CMC in order to become a copy of it. But like we said, there's many cards that abuse this.
Yeah.
Many cards that have cost 1 mana, which should have never cost 1 mana.
Yeah.
Because they had some other egregious downside. So I think, like you said, there is only going to end up being one real way to build this, and that's to abuse those. Like if I think of it as a Timmy, there's a lot of cool creatures that I would enjoy turning Lazav into during attack step, but all of them probably cost 6-7 mana, and that's just not the proper way to use this guy at all. So,
All right, so next up we have another returning character, one who's been in all 3 blocks of Ravnica now. We have the one, the only...
Sky Knight Legionnaire? Sweet.
Yes, Sky Knight Legion. Has that been in all 3 blocks?
Yeah. That card has been printed all 3 times.
No, we have Niv Mizzet Perun. It's not even the Perun, just Niv Mizzet Perun. He is a 5/5 dragon wizard for blue, red.
I love that casting cost. Tier, fire.
Yeah. And this spell can't be countered. He has flying. Whenever you draw a card, Niv Mizzet Perun deals 1 damage to any target. And whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. So let's go with Timmy. What do you think on Niv Mizzet here?
I think he's pretty good. I've actually kind of like stayed away from Niv Mizzet for whatever reason. One of my first EDH decks I ever built was Draco Genius, or not Draco Genius, the Firemind.
Firemind, yeah.
Firemind like Curiosity combo.
Yep.
And I realized very early on in my EDH playing how boring combos were. So I ended up getting away from that stuff. And when I saw this Niv Mizzet, I looked at him and I go, oh, yep, he still combos.
Yep.
And then I kind of like stepped back and stayed clear of him. But I would say overall, he is pretty dang good. I wouldn't say he might actually be better than Firemind, because the fact that it's when any player casts an instant or sorcery, you draw a card, which means it demolishes other control players. The fact that he also can't be countered means this guy was strictly built to wreck another control player when you cast him. It was like, you're gonna lose the card advantage race against this. You couldn't even stop it when it came down, and he's gonna be burning down everything that you play. It's a pretty awesome card from afar.
Yeah, Spike, what are your thoughts on this?
Best commander out of all of them.
Interesting.
Is this one the best?
No, he's hand down. It has, in a sense, it protects itself. It hits the board guaranteed. So you're guaranteed to receive priority again. So that's huge already. Then I don't care about. I mean, 5/5 flying, cool beans. It does its thing. It's got a hyper intensive mana cost, obviously. But this is kind of, I know we just talked about Marin, but I'm going to kind of talk about the other guy with a weird name in Is It that goes really, really hard in the paint when it comes to Storm. I can't remember his name. Mizzix?
Mizzix.
Is it Mizzix?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that discounts your spells.
Exactly. So Mizzix can basically go off really easily, as long as he has mana and spells. This guy, all your cantrips turn into double cantrips. All of your rituals turn into ritual cantrips. All of your draw spells draw an extra card. Oh, by the way, the whole time this is happening, you're hitting anything for 1.
Yeah. He
And then
almost
he
looks like he's a storm incarnate. Like he wants to cast as many spells as possible. I'm shocked he didn't do something crazy like when you cast this, or like when you draw a card, deal 1 damage for each card you draw on this turn. It'd be like the fucking craziest card in Magic.
Yeah, no, we can't go that far.
Yeah, I mean, I like this guy too. Yeah, the casting cost definitely gets in the way a little bit. Whenever any player plays an instant or sorcery, I mean, basically you're drawing a card when he dies at the very least.
When they go to kill it, exactly.
Yeah. And you still have the Curiosity combo available. And I think the rest of the deck, honestly, just ends up being a control deck. All you want to be doing is playing instants or sorceries that draw cards, counter spells, and remove stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or, I mean, this is huge. Like I said, is a huge Storm enabler. I feel like every single spell you cast in a Storm deck, drawing you a card now.
Yeah, that's true, too.
It's 100% Storm. Remember Riku? Imagine if I was drawing a card every single time.
Yeah. You'd be able to cut all the cards that didn't draw and just focus on the ones that gave you mana and that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely a very good card there. And then our last one to round it out, we get to end on the best color combination there is, apparently.
Is it? There's another. Is it, Commander? Where?
No, we got Boros.
Ew.
I know. So we have Tajik, Legion's Edge. He is a
tragic.
Yeah. He's a human soldier for 1, a red and a white. He has haste, mentor, prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control, and then he has an activated ability of red, white. Tajik, Legion's Edge, gains first strike until end of turn. Spike, what do you think?
So, I did the whole reading thing again with this one.
Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control. That's almost everyone misses the first time.
Yeah, there's a clause in there that says other.
Yeah.
So on its own, I was like, oh my god, you can blast Mizak, you can aftershock, you can earthquake for as much as you want. It doesn't matter. It's amazing. Burst Reckoner stuff you don't have to do it. Didn't work out. He kills himself every time, and I don't like generals that commit suicide. So I'm gonna pass it.
You're not a fan of Child of Alara?
Honest to God, if I wanted to play a commander like him, I would just go with Iroas. If I said that right, Iroas.
Aroas, yeah.
Iroas, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Boros commanders go, it's not that bad. Because I really do like that third line of text. Like the haste, the mentor, and the first strike, I don't care at all. But he's 3 mana for a fairly powerful effect. The Blast Act thing still applies. I mean, I think, you put your Stuffy Dolls and you put your Boros Reckoners and your, True Fire Captains and Spite Mares and all that kind of stuff out there. And then you do the same thing. You play that. You play Blasphemous Act and Earthquake and Pyrrhemia, and whatever that new card is that deals 20 damage to everything, and
Star of Extinction.
Yeah. And you play all that stuff, and that just becomes your win con. Is you're just, they're not gonna die. Oh wait, oh god, never mind. None of that works. By the way.
Hey, look. Here's the thing. He looks like the guy from Thor, the Gatekeeper, Alderman.
What is that guy's name?
It's Idris Elba.
Is it Boulder? No. I can't remember.
Boulder's the guy that liked the guns. His name was like Nornheim or Heinhelm. I don't know, man. Some Nordic stuff. Anyways, look at him. He looks just like Idris Elba.
Anyway, I just
Heimdall.
realized.
Guys, I googled it. It was Heimdall. It's a Heimdall.
He does look like Heimdall. A lot shinier though. Anyway, the point is, everything I said doesn't work. So forget that.
Why doesn't it
Hard
work?
pass. Hard pass.
It prevents all non-combat damage. It means it never deals the damage to Stuffy Doll. If you-
LOL.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about just generically wiping your opponent's.
Oh, sure, you can do that, but it's. I mean, it's
If our
not.
viewers get anything, it's going to be that reading is essential.
Reading is super essential.
Stay in school, kids.
Stay woke.
Or don't keep playing Magic. You apparently have to do a lot of reading in Magic, so it's almost the same as school.
It's exactly the same. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is all of our commanders. So let's wrap that up and head right into our favorite cards from the set. So we are going to start off with Spike. And Spike, what do you have up for us first?
So up first, I'm just going to go ahead and throw out Mission Briefing. It's a Snapcaster effect, which you very rarely see in Magic. The ability to recast your spell or rebuy your spells from your graveyard is pretty powerful. Being able to do something brutal like maybe Wheel of Fortune or Dark Deal or something like that along those powers, or maybe Mana Drain even, because this is an instant. Being able to do something the same effect for just 2 more mana. Not to mention this card actually has a unique effect where it allows you to almost dump 2 more cards or look at 2 more cards prior to the spell resolving, allowing you to maybe even find something better. So it's essentially giving you scry to Snapcaster, no stick, and cast the spell.
Seems pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good card. The Surveil is very nice on it. I feel like I'm going to see this. I'm going to be watching a Pro Tour, and this is going to be somebody's last-ditch effort where they're like, well, there's nothing in my yard, but we're going to cast this and see if we get there with the Surveil.
And blow somebody out.
I mean, that's the dream, right?
Yep.
All right, so Timmy, what is your first card?
My first card is Beast Whisperer. That's a 4-mana 2/3 elf druid that says whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Notably, this is an elf that draws cards, which is always good. But I used to run Soul of the Harvest for quite a bit of my earlier EDH years. It's a 6-mana 5/5, I believe, that whenever you cast a creature spell, you draw a card. So I kind of cut that because there's more powerful draw effects lower in the curve. And then this guy appears later down the line and says, hey, I'm a discounted Soul of the Harvest. You want to try again? And I'm like, yes, I do want to try again. So creature-centric decks, I love it. I also love it when you need to put in support for a creature-centric deck, and that support card is also a creature. I love it when that happens, which is why I'm always a giant fan of like Fleshback Marauder in my Reanimator decks. So Beast Whisperer, I think, is one that I'm going to enjoy trying to play around with again.
All right. Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties, but now there's a picture of him up on the screen. I 100% agree. I think that this guy, because sometimes Soul of the Harvest just comes down way too late. I am going to try to combo off by playing guys a lot earlier in the game.
Yeah, I imagine this will go well in your druid deck, it being a druid as well.
Yes, playing all of the druids. What's that? It is an elf, yeah. So, I mean, this is going to work really well in elf.
For me, I'm just going to use it generically. You're going to use it because it's a druid, and Spike is going to use it because it's an elf.
Yeah.
It literally says every 1-drop mana dork draws me a card.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, just so you guys are aware, your spell doesn't have to resolve.
Yep. You just have to cast it. Doesn't even matter if it resolves.
Yep. All right, so my first card is Okran Assassin. It is Yeah. It's a 1/1 for 1, a black and a green. It's an elf assassin that has Death Touch, and all creatures able to block Okran Assassin do so.
So it has lore.
It has lore, yeah. It has lore and Death Touch. It put them both together finally.
The power creep here is that instead of having to do this across 3 cards, they did it across 2 cards. They did it across 1 now.
There you go. That's all I'm looking for. I used to play the whole Thicket Basilisk and lore thing back in the day.
Yeah, wait a second. No, this still doesn't work because it's a 1/1. If this was a 2/1, it would have had it all.
All right, you may have to giant growth this thing to do.
Yeah, on top of this card, you still need another card to push its power level up.
I thought Okran Assassin was a 2/2.
No, it's a 1/1.
No. No, you're thinking of Pitiless Gorgon, who does not have lore.
Yeah.
That is what I was thinking about. You're right.
So yeah, you still have to pump this somehow. But I mean, I still like the lore effects anyway, because they do allow you to get in with all your other attackers.
That's true.
Yeah, that's fair. And it kills their best
and it kills one of them. So I mean, it's a bad kill spell plus evasion for your team. Not bad. And the added bonus of if you like gigantic growth this or whatever kind of +7/+7 thing, then it kills all their stuff.
Dang. So this goes in that deck that runs no removal except for pump spells. It's a perfect fit.
I'm very familiar with this concept. All right, Ryan, what do you got up next?
All right, up next, I'm going to talk about Citywide Bust. We've been riding a weird cusp on board wipes over the last, decade. And we've gone upwards of, 9 mana. Well, let's just say 7 mana. No, 9? Plague Wind?
Yeah.
Plague Wind.
Plague Wind's 9, yeah.
So we go up to 9 Plague Wind, and then you go down to 3 right here. Or, I mean, you go back to 2 with balance. But, anyways, Citywide Bust. We got ourselves 3 mana. It is very reminiscent of that joke card that we got as actually our spoiler.
Oh, yeah. Odds and evens.
Oh.
Odds or evens.
Not to the slaughter. Yeah. Odds and evens. It also reminds me of the other white card that
Oh, I know what you're talking about, Slaughter the Strong. Because I thought it was like, when I read it, I was like, is this another Slaughter the Strong? But that's, so because I didn't know how Slaughter the Strong worked.
That reading is important, children. So that card, Slaughter the Strong, was like they add up the power of 4 or toughness of 4, and then keep everything else. After reading it a few times, I was like, this card's really not that great because he gets way too many options. They get to save too much shit. They get to this one, however, is a 3 mana board wipe that specifically says Elspeth minus or whatever it is. It just blows up everything with toughness 4 or greater. 3 mana, you really can't beat that, especially if you're behind. The thing about it is, I like the cost and the effect. The question is, what deck do you put it in? Because in all reality, there's not really a deck where you need to save 1 mana in EDH, where Wrath of God isn't just going to be the same thing.
Yeah. Aurelia!
Yeah, I mean,
I
think
where everything's power is less than 3 because they're all double strikers, and Aurelia has a 2/5. Oh, fuck! I forgot.
Yeah, it is. The one thing that stuck out to me was that this seemed a lot like they were trying to reprint as close as they could reserved list card.
Which one?
The Retribution of the Meek, which is power 4 or greater, and it costs 2 and a white instead of 1 and 2 white. Exactly.
Some visions, right?
Yep.
This one also, this card, just so you guys are aware, if you ever need to go look at it, it has Arya Stark on the front of it, just kind of doing this.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you.
So anyway, I mean, it is a. I think it's a solid card. I think it'll see play. It blows out that Arcades deck.
The walls. Yeah, because we needed that. They
look, it was becoming a problem.
R&D needs to get on this real quick because we're about to warp this format.
That's what I thought. So, all right, with that, Shannon, what do you have up for your next one?
My next one is a little guy by the name of Erratic Cyclops. And this is a 4 mana 0/8 trample that says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it gets +X/+0, where X is the spell's converted mana cost. So this reminds me of one of my other favorite cards from a while back, Spellbound Dragon. There's a 5 mana 3/5 flyer. When it attacks, you draw a card, then discard a card, and it gets +X/+0 equal to the discarded card's power. So, you could, that one was a little bit stronger because you could discard like an Omniscience to give it +10/+0 or whatever. I actually tried doing that in Standard a lot. It was pretty funny. This one's a little bit different because it's about casting spells, which makes a lot of sense in its color pie. But 4 mana 0/8 is pretty hilarious. This guy did so much work in all the limited that we played. You Gravitic Punch and then Jumpstart Gravitic Punch, and you just dealt 8 damage plus to somebody. You're done like it is crazy. You do like 4 and then 8 the second time. So caught a lot of people off guard. So I'm excited to try and play around with that idea as like kind of a storm finisher possibly. in a deck that doesn't involve just scrape shotting or ignite memorying or something like that, or Aetherflux Reservoiring.
Yeah, I mean, I think the card's fun. It's fine. I don't think it's ever going to be insane, but yeah, there's some interesting stuff you can do with it.
I'm excited to play Apex of Power. You know what? That's really the moral of the story is that I want Apex of Power to not suck balls, and this guy gives it a slimmer of hope.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite part of this card, to be perfectly honest, is the art, because his head is literally the size of like his thumb.
Yep. His biceps and fingers are bigger than his tiny head.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so next up we have one of my picks, which is going to be Truefire Captain. So remember all that stuff I was talking about that you can't actually do with Tajik?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it with this.
Oh
yeah?
What is it?
So Truefire Captain is white, and red for a human knight that has Mentor and is a 4/3. And it says whenever Truefire Captain is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target player.
Fair enough.
All right. Yeah. So it's half of a Boros Reckoner.
So I have been like waiting my entire life to build like the Tamanoa deck. That's like nothing but these effects.
Yeah.
And so we're one step closer.
All right. There you go.
That is the long and short
of
it. One more cog in the giant wheel that may or may not be that deck.
Yeah. I'm a man who enjoys Boros Reckoner and Spite Mare and Stuffy Doll, but this one not being on hit creatures says nah thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're supposed to kill people with it.
That's fair, I guess. I mean, all the one remaining Firesong and Sunspeaker player was like, yes, queen.
See, there you go. Yeah, I guess nobody really plays that card, huh? I wonder how much they are now. All right, Spike.
What's up?
What do you have up next?
Cardus.
Ooh, you guys ready for this one?
I am ready.
This one's spicy. Goblin Crater Maker.
Ooh.
Goblin Crater Maker. Tell us this story.
Modern? Is this a modern card?
No, I mean it can be. I mean it probably will be. It's actually, I'm just gonna pull this up so I don't misread this card. I'm gonna read the card actually out loud so I don't mess it up.
He's gonna mess it up while he reads it out loud.
I'm gonna mess it up while I read it because I can't read. I'm a child. I already Crater Maker.
Yeah.
All right, cool beans. All right, so this one is a 2-mana. I know it's 1 and a red. And I know what its abilities do, but I want to know what it's a 2/2. So it's a 2-mana 2/2. It is a bear. Now, you pay 1 and sacrifice this thing. You can shoot any creature for 2. That's already good. That's already decent for a goblin. You know, you have a 2-mana 2/2 goblin that you can sack it and shoot something. Now, here's the best part. You can also, it's second mode. It's modal. It says destroy target colorless non-land permanent.
Yeah. It kills Karn. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a Karn killing goblin. But
kills Ugin. It kills Eldrazi. This thing blows up Eldrazi.
It kills so much that is relevant to EDH, including mana rocks,
affinity pieces.
Yeah, including combo pieces, huge combo pieces. Like it can blow up as Microsynthatis. Like, come on, dude.
I would agree that it's got a lot of potential, but my favorite thing about this card is the freaking art, man. I love the art. He's carrying a giant box full of fireworks and explosives and trying to light it, and there's a tiny cat in the corner going, "What the hell, man? This is my house that you're about to."
I didn't even notice the cat.
Up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the cat's pissed off at this stupid goblin.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I agree. I don't know how prevalent or ubiquitous this is going to be in EDH. I can definitely see its power. I mean, that destroy a colorless thing. I mean, who cares about the first ability, really? Like, that destroy a colorless thing is just super strong. And, yeah, I mean, a bear on its own is fine. This is obviously going to go in every goblin deck in the world.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a very strong card, but I don't think it's going to be one of the ones that cause everyone to go, I want to go build Krenko now because of Goblin Crater Maker.
Right.
Oh, God, no.
But it's going to impact a lot of other formats, I think.
It is only 21 cents, so.
How much? Yeah, stock up.
Yeah. Okay, now I have to type this in, and there's no chance in hell I can spell this word. So, Shannon, what is your next one?
My next card is Camaraderie, and that is a 6-mana sorcery that says you gain life and draw X cards, where X is the number of creatures you control, and those creatures gain +1/+1 until end of turn. So when it comes to like wide token, even token decks, but not necessarily just token decks, I've been relying pretty heavily upon Shamanic Revelations, 5-mana draw card, gain 4 life for every creature with power 4 or greater you have. And that's been my go-to because there used to be another one. I think it's called Collective Unconsciousness, or Collective Consciousness. That was a 6. It does the same thing, but it's 6 mana. So it was strictly worse than Shamanic Revelations. But this one brings it back. It's like, okay, well, I could pay 1 more mana to tack on to Shamanic Revelations the life gain, something along the lines of the life gain I would have gotten with Shamanic Revelations, but also a +1/+1 buff. So it's like, all right, well, maybe we can try this out again. Maybe I can push this back up to 6 mana and see if it's a worthwhile card. So I've been testing that one out. This is one of the few cards, or several cards out of this new set that actually pushed me into building Tristani, the old Tristani, that is, the life-gaining, token-making Tristani. So I guess they both do that, but
Yeah.
the good Tristani, I should say. So.
I think this card is really good. Sorry, I did literally spend the last minute spelling this and then respelling it, so the card is now up on the screen, but it took me a bit.
It's okay. You're old.
I mean, it's not that. I just can't spell. But yeah, I mean, I think this card is really good. Yeah, I mean, it replaces Collective Unconscious easily in anything that has Selesnya available. And then, yeah, depending, Shamanic Revelation or this, it depends on whether you're going wide or going tall. If you're going tall, then Shamanic Revelation may make a little bit more sense. But if you're going wide, then this thing is amazing. I'm happy they printed this card. It's just a great utility card in Selesnya. All right, up next for me we have 1,000-Year Storm. See, I gotta type.
Oh
these.
wow! Oh my!
Yeah, it looks fun, right?
Yeah, I tried to build a limited deck around this. I actually didn't literally.
How did that work?
We played. I had a joke sideboard into a separate deck.
Yeah.
That was built around that.
Nice.
And people were claiming that when somebody resolved a 1,000-Year Storm, they usually lost the next turn. Like the person who resolved the 1,000-Year Storm usually won the next turn because of the degenerate crap it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1,000-Year Storm is 4, a blue and a red for an enchantment that says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn, or you've cast before it this turn. You may choose new targets for the copy. This just seems like an interesting new toy for Storm decks.
Right. Yeah. I think that this is definitely might be an entry point for new Storm players because I think veteran Storm players are going to look at it and go, nah, pass. That's too much mana. It's too much setup. I don't need that in order to storm off. But somebody who's not used to storming goes, okay, well, this is kind of like the training wheels for Storm. This allows me to do a lot of interesting things and have this on backup and recur my solid, decent cards multiple times in a row. But
it also allows you to not have to have the meticulous timing that Storm usually requires, right?
Exactly.
Like you could accidentally grape shot a little bit too early and then be like, oh, I have a brainstorm in my hand. And then oh, okay, well, I got another grape shot that goes on the stack or empty the warrens or whatever. I mean, I like this in the same way that I like Aetherflux Reservoir. It gives another potential out for Storm. I agree with you. Really good for newer players. So with that, we are going to go back to Ryan. And Ryan, what do you got?
All right. Well, since you guys are too busy talking about bad cards,
hit us with your best shot.
You want my best shot? No, you don't. You want my best shot. I would hit you with one of my next favorites, though. We are going to go ahead and talk about Golgari Find Broker. This effect is quite powerful. It's the reason it's not like super high on my list, but it does return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Eternal Witness, that big guy, the big Ewit, I can't remember his name. Elemental.
Green Warden of Marasa.
Green Warden of Marasa. Those are and then you have Den Protector, but Den Protector is a morph. Those are the only 3 effects outside of spells. Those are only 3 creatures outside of spells that return permanents from your graveyard to your hand, I believe.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
There's like Skullwinder, I think, but that one allows an opponent to also do it as well.
Yes. This one only grabs a permanent. E-Witness and Green Warden both grab any card. This can grab lands and other creatures or artifacts, obviously. But the thing is the fact that it's still a powerful effect. It is mana intensive, and I'm not saying this card's amazing.
Yeah.
But it is definitely something you cannot dispute that is in this set. It definitely can go in the stretch decks. Anything Golgari is definitely worth an add.
Yeah, I definitely think this is going to show up in almost all of the Golgari decks going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. The only thing that, because I was brewing something recently and I was going to put this deck in there, the only thing that really hurts about it as opposed to something like Ewit is you can only get back permanents.
Correct.
Right. You can't like chain together living deaths.
Exactly. So it does have that against it, but it's still super strong. Very good card.
Yep.
Okay. Shannon, what do you have up next for us?
All right, my next draft in the 2018 Guilds of Ravnica draft, my next pick is Omnispell Adept. This is a 5-mana 3/4.
There you go.
With a 3-mana activated ability that says you may cast an instant or sorcery card from your hand without paying its mana cost. You know, my favorite spell in all of Magic the Gathering is Omniscience. This guy does a pretty good impression of Omniscience. Guess what? I'm still trying to break Apex of Power, and this is the guy who's going to try and give it his best shot. So if you manage to 3-mana activate and cast your stupid Apex of Power, giving your Erratic Cyclops +10/+0, adding 10 mana of any of the choices of your color, or of any one color to your mana pool. Why the hell they did that, I don't know. They should have made it of any combination of colors.
Yeah.
And then drawing 7 cards effectively, or exiling 7 cards. This is the guy who's gonna give it a shot. He and I are gonna go the distance in some crazy terrible deck.
All I can see whenever I see this card is it's a blue Elvish Piper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. We recently got a blue Imperial Recruiter in the Spell Seeker.
Yeah.
And so now we have a blue Elvish Piper. So I mean, finally cycles are completing.
Right.
So. The circle is closing.
There you go. Okay, and for my next card, we are going to have Underrealm Lich. Or Lick, or however somebody wants to say it. It is a 4/3 for 3, a black and a green zombie elf shaman. It says, if you would draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put one of those into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Pay 4 life. Underrealm Lich gains indestructible until end of turn and tap it. So it's got pseudo regenerate. For 4 life, which is fine. First of all, this is going to go in, I mean, every Sidisi deck ever. I mean, it's a great, like, throw things in your bin self-mill card. It does a great job of just filtering everything. So this is going to go in Marin. It's going to, I mean, probably almost anything that can play it. If you're on the self-mill plan and you're afraid of dying somehow, you can't actually die to your card draw.
That's right. It replaces your card draw with something that is not drawing cards.
Yep.
So things that end up triggering based off of you having drawn a card no longer trigger, right. which is kind of insane. Like, I have my eye on this guy because I want to build a deck around him specifically because he's so insane.
Yeah. His
synergies with Sylvan Library are insane because once it replaces the things drawn from your Sylvan Library's clause that says put 2 cards you drew this turn back no longer applies.
Because you can't.
Once it's done, you've not drawn any cards from Sylvan Library, so you do not have to put any cards back.
So you just get 3 cards.
Yeah, you look at the top 9 cards in sets of 3 and put 3 of them into your hand, and then put the other 6 into your graveyard and move on, and then go to main phase 1. That's like
Jesus.
fucking insane.
Yeah.
The same thing with Brainstorm. For 1 blue, you get to look at the top 9 cards of your deck and pick 3 of them and put them in your hand, and then discard the other 6.
That's almost
Like,
unbeatable. Like
Yeah.
when somebody's able to do that a couple turns in a row, like they're gonna
Yeah,
win.
if Sylvan Library exists for any amount of time with this guy on the battlefield, the game's probably going to be over pretty quick.
Very quickly, yeah.
And then I didn't even know he had Indestructible. Like I was playing
Yeah.
the Team Unified Sealed with some of the other guys in the Trinisphere, the Spikes, doing like a side event. They allowed me to play with them. And I was like critiquing one of the guys, and I'm like, why aren't you freaking destroying that Underrealm Lich? He's absolutely destroying you with card advantage. And he's like, idiot, it has Indestructible. And I was like, what? It gets Indestructible at instant speed? Like, this card is so freaking good. It's going to be impossible. It's going to be such an EDH warping card, I would say.
Yeah, good card's good. I mean,
Card
why couldn't this be one of the legendary creatures? Like,
I don't know, man. It'd be too good.
Too strong.
I
strong.
mean, I guess that's the answer, right? Like, all right. So, Ryan, back to you. What is your next card?
My next card is hands down, in my opinion, one of the best cards in the entire set. It is Plaguecrafter.
Ooh, I likey.
Plaguecrafter is, if I can find him.
He's the new hotness when it comes to flashback marauding fashion.
Oh yeah.
So in Magic history, we've had a couple creatures that are 3 mana. Both creatures are 3 mana, 3/1s. They both are zombie, or no, one's an orc warrior.
One's an orc warrior, yeah.
One of them is a zombie, and they both enter the battlefield, and everybody has to sacrifice a creature. So they usually sacrifice themselves, or the worst creature if there's something worse than them, and everyone else has to do the same thing. This guy says the same thing, but he also says, or Planeswalker. So when someone, taps out for a Planeswalker in turn 5, and you play this, they don't have a creature, they just sacrifice their Planeswalker. You just ate a Planeswalker.
Yeah.
A Planeswalker with a creature. So it's basically adding to, I think, what they're really, really trying to do is they're trying to give Black that ability to torment, quote unquote. And it's so now
awful modal is what we're gonna call it going forward. It's just like, how would you like to get wrecked? Choose.
The other thing though, it does say each player who can't discards a card, which is even more insane because the card has more value for those people who don't have creatures to sacrifice. You're still gaining something from them, so you're still causing those opponents grief.
Yeah, that's true. So, usually there's consideration with Flashback Marauder. We're like, well, I can wait one more turn and hopefully the other guy who hasn't played anything will play something. But then of course the people who have played something could play a second thing, and you're like, damn it, it's like a tough conundrum. But this one's is so good.
The one thing I will say though is, and I know this probably won't apply to EDH very much unless people are just trying to troll you. If you do play him on turn 3 and he's your only creature and someone like kills it in response, you do have to discard a card.
Aww.
Sad day.
That is kind of funny. So yeah, if you blow it up while its triggers on the stack,
and you have no other creatures to sacrifice, you have to discard a card as well.
Yeah, that probably won't happen, but that is kind of funny.
Not necessarily my favorite card in the set, but I would argue that it might be the strongest EDH card in the set.
Not the strongest.
Strong words. It's not a zombie, so pass.
Strongest.
What? It's a shaman tribal. That's what I was going for.
Shamans aren't black.
Yeah, you're gonna jam that in your Seton, the mono green Seton list.
That's druids, buddy.
Oh, shamans. what is even a shaman commander?
I don't know. Something red, I would guess.
Chick that sacrifices creatures.
Yeah. So who knows? All right. So Shannon, what do you have up next?
My next card in the 2018 Guilds of Ravnica draft is Divine Visitation. People probably could have seen this one coming. So Divine Visitation is a 5-mana enchantment that says if one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. So you guys remember that card called Sarah Angel? Maybe you remember that one? Way back in the Dizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was way before your time, Ryan. I don't think you were born yet when people played this card.
Sir, I was hatched.
I came out of a test tube. So this is this is the newest entry, the newest progeny of a long history of do nothing enchantments that are awesome.
Yep.
So this thing can't do anything on its own, but it's one of those cards like Cathar's Crusade and all these other ones that if you leave it alone for a full turn, you're gonna regret it. So this allows you to turn any kind of token generation into an army of Vigilant Angels. I managed to actually resolve an Avenger of Zendikar with this out, and the other guy's just like, all right, scoop it up. I'm not going to deal with that. So I like this one a lot. I think this is also, you've heard me talk about March of the Multitudes and Camaraderie, and Divine Visitation, and then the fourth piece was Dawn of Hope. Those 4 cards are set. When I saw all 4 of those cards, I said, well, I'm building Tristani, fellas.
Yeah.
So this one is the primo one out of that combination. Maybe not. I'm sure some of the other ones were better, but gosh, I just love the idea of this. The potential power.
Right.
You know, the risk or the reward is worth the risk for a do nothing 5-mana enchantment, in my opinion.
All right. So up next for me, I have Experimental Frenzy.
Ooh, I like that one. And that one comes from, it's like the cousin of Aggressive Mining.
Yeah.
Like let's sacrifice an entire facet of the game in order to try and power through.
Yes. Unfortunately, internet and God forbid Scryfall just bring up the card that I want. So what is it? It's 3 in a red for an enchantment, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. You can't draw cards. You play.
No, you can still draw cards, but you just can't play cards out of your hand.
You can't play cards out of your hand. That's what it is. But you can play cards off the top of your deck. Do they have to be revealed or no?
No.
Here, I'll read it off.
Yeah, thanks.
So it's a 4-mana enchantment that says you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. They forgot the word at.
At, yeah.
That's funny. I never noticed that until I'm like looking at this thing pretty intently. You may play the top card of your library, and you cannot or you can't play cards from your hand. You can also, it has a 4-mana activated ability that says Destroy Experimental Frenzy.
Yeah, so it's kind of as good a future sight as we're ever going to get in red, right?
Yeah, that's probably true, yeah.
I mean, it basically lets you take advantage of top deck mode, which a mono red or a Boros deck can easily get into. So I just think it's interesting. I like it mostly just because of super interesting design. I like anytime they start exploring just really cool design space.
Yeah, this would be a pretty crazy one.
Yeah.
Did you play Aggressive Mining by chance? That one was pretty crazy too.
I did not actually mess around with Aggressive Mining. I kind of want to though.
You can build a deck that like actively prevents you from playing Magic and just run all these cards.
Yeah, I'm going to play Goblin Trenches and Aggressive Mining and...
Didn't you already run that one card that says you no longer draw cards, but you draw a card when, like, you don't draw cards on your draw step, but you draw a card whenever you play a permanent or something like that?
Yes, I absolutely played...
Jam those in there. Jam all that crap in there,
played
man.
both of those cards. There's a black one and a green one, yeah.
We're just going to... The highest risk deck ever, it's extremely easy to get into a state where you can't draw any more cards.
Yeah.
Or play any more Magic. I would like to mention that it has the strangest unhinged or unstable leftover flavor text that says, "Turns out coffee is a weird aunt of invention."
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, the artwork is a little bit odd too. I mean, it reminds me again of like an unset.
This very much feels like a leftover from an unstable that they decided to jam into a set.
It's got to be like some sort of like you're 100%
This and the Stray Cat or whatever it is, like the one where the flavor text is about stepping on like a hairball or something, and I'm like, why is this unstable leftovers?
Oh, generous Stray, yeah.
I think it's just in it.
I will say one thing about this card. It was actually kind of insane and limited because when you're playing like the full-on is a dedicated deck, you just end up using the cards in your hand to fuel all your jumpstart spells. So it was very cleverly
Gotcha.
designed in that
Yeah.
way. Is that your top deck draws were just going to fuel your jump starts, and hopefully jump starts for your next draw or your top deck, so you can cast them off the top.
Right.
It worked beautifully. I gotta say, I was really impressed with the mechanics in the set and limited. I was some of the decks that I saw, they functioned incredibly. So
I can honestly see this card doing something in like if you're trying to actually build a burn deck. I mean, like burn decks in EDH obviously teeter out really easily. But if you're constantly just playing a burn spell off the top, playing a burn spell off the top, playing a burn spell off the top, then, you know.
Yeah, I think I watched GP Montreal coverage in which somebody played this, and they hit 3 spells in a row.
Nice.
Before they hit a land. And it just completely broke the other guy's back. He's like, really? You top deck 2 creatures in a burn spell? Like, I lose. You did it.
Right.
Get wrecked.
All right. Ryan, what is your next card?
This is your numero uno, right? This is the number 1 spike pick.
Yep, this is the best card in the entire set.
Is anyone going to be surprised with this one?
No, there really shouldn't be a surprise, and if you are surprised, then
you're not a spike.
You're not a spike.
Get over it.
I don't tell you. You're not one of my friends.
Get over it. Look at the other two.
What?
Wow.
Spikes don't have friends. We walk alone.
The lonely road.
Thank you.
Walk hard.
All right. Anyways, it's Assassin's Trophy.
Boo.
What's Assassin's Trophy do?
Really?
Boring card is boring.
1 green, 1 black. So Golgari. It was like they took Abrupt Decay and were like, "How do we make this card better?"
It really is.
It is, and Abrupt Decay was already a really good card.
Yeah, they were like, "Gosh, you remember how expensive Abrupt Decay was because of Standard? Let's make a card that'll be worse for attaining."
Yeah.
Let's just blast them. So yeah, the card's insane. It answers literally any permanent in the entire game. It even hits the lands for 2 mana. The thing is, it just gives them basic. In EDH, we don't care about Path to Exile. Everyone loves Path to Exile. Could you imagine if they were like, hey, let's add another white symbol to Path to Exile and let it say hit any permanent? Don't you think everyone might nut in their pants a little bit?
Yeah, everyone would line up for 4 ofs to play in their singleton format.
100%. So the card's bananas. I understand why they gave it to Golgari, but dude,
I mean, it's almost $20 already, so.
Does it exile or does it destroy? I'm gonna be clear.
Destroys.
It destroys.
Okay.
Yep. So this is in another weird world. This is a bad crop rotation too, for fixing your mana base.
Yeah.
You can hit your own stuff. Which
I'm trying to figure out some other interesting way to use this boring card.
People path their own creatures to ramp.
I've done it.
Yeah. I've pathed something before. I've also oblationed myself to draw cards.
Well, that's just like basically an Altar's Reap. I mean, that's good. That's good value.
All right, Shannon, what is your
I know everyone's
final
been
card?
waiting for this moment. Everyone's been waiting for this moment. What is a Timmy's number 1 card? Because it wasn't Divine Visitation, and that shocked everyone. It was one of the best cards out of Guilds of Ravnica. You couldn't actually get in Guilds of Ravnica. It was Impervious Great Worm.
It's not.
It was only a buy a box promo. Welcome to Magic the Gathering, everyone. If you're new to the game, get wrecked because certain cards you can't get out of the set, but are standard legal.
Yeah.
Well, just pump your brakes. Let me talk about this card real quick. This is an 8 mana 16/16. Yeah, 16/16. I do believe that is the biggest creature in Magic other than Big Furry Giant, which isn't like a real Magic card. It's 2 Magic cards.
Yeah.
It is also indestructible, or at this rate, we're going to call it undestructible because it's so amazing. And it also has Convoke, so it's not actually 10 mana. It's much less than 10 mana.
Yep.
Let me just think real quick. This thing blocks and kills Emrakul if she didn't have flying because you ran Gravity Well.
Block Emrakul.
You run Gravity Well, okay? So when it attacks, it loses flying. And then you crunch it to death with Impervious Great Worm.
You have to stack the things, dude.
You know what?
It also
I do
gets
believe,
blocked by plant tokens.
I do believe that is it 13? 13 squirrels kills an Emrakul? 16 squirrels can't even kill an impervious great worm. It's undestructible. How could you get past this? This is so amazing. Look at the art. Somebody took the time to meld a bunch of fucking armor onto a worm the size of a city.
Yeah.
Like, who had that time?
I mean, the interesting thing is,
Celestia did that?
even though, yeah, I'm guessing, yeah.
100%.
It's the ultimate answer to intrigue and subtlety. Fuck that. Take 16 to the face, biatch.
Well, even though 16 squirrels can't kill it, one squirrel can make it never hit you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It does have ADD. It does get distracted on the way into the red zone. And it's something you can work with, though. Like, you teach it, you give it some brawn, or something. Yeah, doesn't really matter, though. I don't think it matters. Because once you've cast this creature and it hits the battlefield, everyone's like, wow, it's an impervious great worm. You've already won the game. You already have the biggest creature. So do with me what you want, for I have already won. That's actually what its flavor text should
Interesting.
say.
All right.
The card comes with an achievement unlock.
Yeah.
It makes Galta look like a little bitch.
Sure. All right. So for my last card, we're going to go back to the Storm area and talk about Runaway Steamkin. So for 1 and a red, you get a 1/1 that says 1/1 elemental that says whenever you cast a red spell, if Runaway Steamkin has fewer than 3 +1/+1 counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on Runaway Steamkin. Remove 3 +1/+1 counters from Runaway Steamkin. Add red, red, red to your mana pool. This card.
Yeah, sorry, I stopped listening like halfway through that because it's not a 16/16 undestructible. So
It is not.
so many words. What does it do? I don't even care.
This card wins games, is what this card does.
Really?
Unlike your squirrel blocker.
I'm going to fling that thing at your face so hard. Because this is a shoo-in for Thromok. It's Thromok's lieutenant, and you're gonna get flung, kid. I'm gonna thud you.
Runaway Steamkin basically just, as you cast spells, you generate mana. It's second to casting spells and drawing cards when it comes to Storm. So you cast cards that are just building you toward Storm. You're refueling yourself with mana while you're doing it, hopefully drawing some cards off of things while you're doing it. This card is going to be real good in my estimation. I wish that it was any spell or at least just instant and sorcery. I don't know why they changed their direction and design from like instant and sorcery everything to red spells with this guy.
It was to give mono red an aggression factor, I think.
Yeah. But regardless, I mean, this guy can pump up to be a 4/4 fairly easily, or he can, just help you Storm and just be a facilitator. I think that this card is going to see a lot of play in the right build. If you're a red heavy Storm deck, this is going to be really good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I sorry, I wasn't listening. I was looking at the awful art.
What? Like I love the art. What are you talking about?
It's got to be one of the. Oh, look at my big beefy steam arms. Steam card. He's gonna swing a steam cloud at your face.
Because it hits you and it sears your skin.
Ow!
Just slightly.
This guy is amazing.
Like,
that's it. I'm covering Shannon's face with Runaway Steamkin.
No,
I would rather look at that.
That's disgusting. No. All right, you know what? That's so disgusting. I forgot my joke.
Oh man!
All right. Well, is
it about a Cleveland steamer, perhaps? Something along those lines.
Okay, let's leave all that.
I'm not close like you guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Your secret's safe with us.
I hope so. We're on a podcast together.
Yeah, that's how that works.
The world will know the blackmail deets we've got. It's on Google Drive, all the dirt.
That's true.
It's called blackmail stuff. It's in the blackmail stuff folder.
We recorded everything.
All right. And
all right.
With that, everybody, we have finished up our Guilds of Ravnica review. Overall impressions, Ryan, what do you think overall of this set as far as EDH impact?
I believe that this has been a successful EDH impact, and personally, this is just me. With the with the addition of the Dominaria set, when they really basically gave us Legends too, I think they're really going to be commander centric moving forward. I think most sets coming out, they really have to push cards that are so sought after by that party because of how large it is now. If commander cards don't come out, people will genuinely be discouraged by booster packs because I know commander people who just buy singles. I mean, we get to that point now, but there are people out there who play standard religiously or modern religiously and also play EDH who don't mind taking packs to build their collection on both ends.
Yeah.
And you might be pushing a product that might be less inclined to sell. That's just me.
Yep. Shannon, what do you think?
The set was had pretty medium commanders to work with, but had a lot of very good support for EDH decks. Like I said, this set drew me back into building Tristani, old Tristani, so like that's already an accomplishment. It had enough stuff that I was like, man, I really want to use these new tools, and that's all you really want, right?
Yeah.
Is you want to see a card that you want to see that card work, so it draws you back to an old set. I mean, slightly better than that would be cards that drew you into a completely new archetype or a new thing, which kind of Atrada did that. It made somebody try and design in a new space. But even then, I mean, that's for you, Johnny. Is for me, I just want to go back and play with old stuff that I feel like is going to be even stronger now with these great new cards. So, and I feel like this set nailed that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we are. I think we're in good design times. I mean, there's some like questionable ones from time to time, or questionable phrases that are added to or left off of cards, like Atrada having to reshuffle. Like almost any other effect would have been okay. Like it doesn't untap next turn or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that the set was successful for EDH. Not as much with the commanders themselves, but pretty good. So. Again, with that, we are going to wrap it up. So check us out next time for gameplay videos. You can check us out every other week. We have gameplay videos going up on the Trinisphere. We also have a lot of deck tech videos going up, and then you can catch us every other week on Tuesdays with the podcast. So we'll be coming back at you with that. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, comment. You know, what cards did we miss? Did we not cover that you think we should have talked about in regards to EDH? And until then, we will talk to you later, guys.
Peace.